individuals and groups, bring about the life sustained, to the nation where peace and justice shall reign. Amen.
Yeah, thank you for. So I think this session is going to be short. So Dr. Edu, we will open up just 15 or 20 minutes and then like 5 minutes interaction, and then we'll go into our meeting properly. So my name is Stephen, and I'm the chairman of the branch. Thank you all for coming. As a branch, we have been organizing a lot of activities to keep our members up to date, both of us are here and those that are in Nigeria. Unfortunately, we have some of our members across the UK, but today's event, because this facility doesn't have the remote participation, we decided to make it only event, so there's no Zoom detail for most of our members to join remotely. So we just go into the session right away without wasting time. And normally the technical secretaries organize this technical event, so I usually say a big thank you to them. We have Engineer Monday, who is in Nigeria now, supporting the state government to see how they can make the power sector more efficient. I'm pretty sure he's doing a very good job, and will make our branch, the branch, very proud. We have Engineer Shebo as well. Due to some family commitment, he's unable to attend today. So in the absence of that, I'm going to Vice Chairman, you anchor the technical session. Sorry for that. So you anchor the technical session. So I'll invite you to introduce our speaker, Dr. JIDE. So thank you.
Thank you for joining us today. My name is Mohamed. Welcome. I'm the Vice Chairman of this great association. So today we have with us Dr. JIDE EDU, right? Dr. JIDE EDU is a cybersecurity researcher and an academic with expertise in IoT security, machine learning, and cyber physical systems. He has held research position at King's College London, University of Strathclyde, and the Alan Turing Institute. His research focuses on developing cost-effective and efficient security testing methods for complex cyber physical systems, such as IoT of devices and industrial control systems. Please let's welcome Dr. JIDE EDU.
That is my email.
Do you not need to log into something else? Like, what can I present to a group of engineers? I'm not an engineer, and I was just thinking maybe I could present this interesting research because messaging services is what most people use, and that's why I just come up with this. So feel free to stop me when I'm presenting and ask any questions, and if you wanted to wait at the end of the presentation, just feel free. So this is the work I did with some researchers from UIC, IMDEA in Spain, and when I was still at King's College. So we all know about chat messaging platforms from Slack, Discord, WhatsApp, Microsoft Teams, and we have been using them for a lot of activities. These messaging platforms provide us with ability to share instant information, video conferencing, and file sharing. And these messaging platforms make use of third-party chatbots, which we call third-party applications, or in platform we call them chatbots. And these chatbots are usually designed by third-party developers, and they help us perform additional tasks. For instance, if you have Discord, or you have Microsoft Teams, or you have Slack, if you wanted to integrate Zoom application into your messaging platform, you can download these Zoom apps from the third-party server outside the platform entirely. And because you are downloading this chatbot from outside the platform, it is an interesting target for malicious users. And here we are trying to compare how the chatbot is related to mobile apps. So mobile apps, you can install them on your mobile phones, but chatbots just give you the ability to communicate with them on cloud. So you don't really have the application running on your system. And the mobile apps run on phones, where the chatbot runs on cloud. And when you, as a security researcher, want to do analysis, the mobile apps, you can download the apps, unzip it, do a lot of analysis. But the chatbot, in which you can only use it, you can only interact with it, it's quite difficult to analyze. So so if you want to do the analysis, you have to, there's something we call interrogative analysis, in which you just have to give it some input and try to see how it responds to those inputs. So, and this is where the challenge of analysis lies, because you don't have access to the source code of these applications. You can only do an interaction with it to see whether it's security compliance or not. So it creates a lot of issues. And for this our research, we designed a system for assessing the security and privacy issues of this chatbots. So it's been divided into 3 different analysis stages. So we call it metadata analysis, where we look at these different documents and details, information collected from the users. And we also have static analysis, where we try to look at the source code when they are available. And we perform something called dynamic analysis, in which we try to interact with these different applications and see what they are actually collecting from different users. So this is just the nice diagram for it. And when it comes to data collection stage, we visited Discord and Slack apps, because they have this platform where you can download different third-party applications. Just like if you have Android, there's this Play Store. So Slack as well and Discord, they have their own Play Store, but not Play Store, it's just a platform for downloading their applications. So for Discord, it's TalkGG. I don't know if anyone is familiar with that. So, and for Slack as well, you can actually download additional applications from the platform directly. So we visited these different applications, and we download a lot of, we visited these different platforms, and we download a lot of applications. So in this diagram, where we perform metadata analysis, so for the metadata analysis, what we did is to extract features from, we pick an app, we extract features, like look at the privacy policy document to see what personal data they said they're collecting from users. And we look at the permissions that they are requesting from these users, like just similar to when you have your applications. If you want to install it, they said, can you grant this access to your camera, mobile phones, or whatever. So they have the same thing on messaging platform as well. Because I bet most of us don't even know what kind of information they are requesting for. We just click accept, and that's it. So what we did is to download these different apps, look at the information they are requesting for, and also look at what they actually specify in their privacy policy that they are collecting. And we do something we call traceability analyzer. We pick the information they are actually collecting from the users and what they disclose to the user that they are collecting, and we try to match it, whether they actually match or they don't. So we perform 3 kinds of analysis in which we, so using this, we were trying to understand how open these developers are or how they are actually justify the information they are collecting from real users. So we perform three traceability analysis. So there is one we call complete. That is when we look at the information they are collecting and we compare with what they disclose. If it matches, we say it's complete. And we have this scenario as well when we look at the information they are collecting from the users and what they disclose. So if it matches but not all, we call it partial. And we have this scenario that we call broken, in which the information they are collecting doesn't even match with anything that they have disclosed. So we have these three different instances. And also we do something we call static analysis, in which sometimes these applications, they have a GitHub repository where they dump their code for people to look into. But because these applications are being hosted on the cloud, those source code are not readily available except when the developers make it available. So we went to different repositories and we look for the source code of these different applications. So we do something we call static analysis, in which we look at the code, we inspect it, try to see what they say they are collecting, how they are designing it, and the rest, and we perform our analysis of it. And also, the third one is we perform something we call dynamic analysis, in which we install these applications on a control environment, and we try to mimic a real user to see whether these applications are behaving malicious or not. So we have three scenarios. The first one, we look at the information they disclose. The second one, we try to inspect their codes, and the third one, we run them, which dynamic analysis, and we try to see what information they're actually collecting from users. So so this is the dynamic analysis. So for the dynamic analysis as well, we use something we call honeypots. So in security, there is honeypots, in which when you try to imitate a real environment and you make it juicy for malicious users to feel like, okay, this is, maybe I have struck a goal, they have actually hacked into a system, but in real time, it's not really a system, it's just like a decoy for you to be able to monitor how an attacker will have tried to access your own system, just trying to learn about the different expertise from these attackers. So we use something they call canary tokens. How canary token works is you can drop a file in a control environment. Whenever someone tries to access it, they are going to notify you that someone has accessed it. So we use this kind of canary tokens in the control environment we set up, just to know when something malicious is going on. So we don't need to actually be watching the environment. We will be notified via email that so have tried to access this information. So now, the purpose of actually performing this dynamic analysis is to see whether there are applications that are actually causing information leakage, and also try to see whether we have malicious applications, because from the study we see a lot of people actually downloading any recommended apps as long as it will actually provide them some functionalities without doing any analysis. And I bet if I ask how many people always read privacy policy, I don't think anyone will read privacy policy. I also don't read privacy policy because I know, and even sometimes if you try to install anything, you just have to click accept, because even if you don't accept, you won't be able to install that application. So they don't actually give users the options, even though it look as if the user have the options to decline anything, but you don't really have an option, because if you don't accept, you can't proceed, and if you don't proceed, you can't use such applications. So it's quite complicated. So we set up this different environment, and for our findings, for the whole analysis, we look at this code, which is our test case, and we look at 21,000 applications developed by third-party developers. So, and out of all these 21,000, we discovered that about 16,000 of them are asking for permissions to access some personal information from the users. And out of
you said you used to 1,000 applications.
yeah, 21,000
How did
applications.
you do that? Was it commented or?
Yeah, it's we design an automated system using the methodology that I disclosed.
Alright, okay.
So now this is just the permission measurement of what we do, and we see that most of these applications are asking for administrative privilege. Like if you give an application administrative privilege, they have the opportunity to actually perform all of that permissions without you even giving it to them. And so, people, I don't even look at this permission myself because sometimes they write it so tiny, you need to slow down. So now we discovered that the majority of them, which is like almost over 4.86%, are actually asking for administrative permissions. So by having access to administrative permissions, you don't even need to ask for any other permissions. You can do anything you want with such permissions. So, and also we discovered that 59% of them are requested for send message, which is quite the normal thing because we are using some messaging platforms, so they need some kind of permissions to be able to allow you to do that. So the result of our metadata analysis, when we try to look at what they are requesting from users and what they are saying they are actually collecting, we discovered that out of the whole 60,000 that are actually collecting permissions from users, 673 of them actually have a privacy policy to disclose what they are doing with your data and what information they are collecting. The rest of them don't have anything to disclose, like there is no privacy policy which is against the GDPR rules. And likewise, we discovered that out of the 16,000, it's only 15,525 chats that are still active, so some of them are non-active, and 5,000 of them actually have a website that describes properly what they do and how they are doing it. So from this result, we discovered that none of them actually have complete traceability. We were unable to match the permissions they are collecting from what they disclose. So none of them out of the whole 50,000 applications that we look at, which is quite bad. And likewise, even those that have privacy policy, the policy is not designed for the application itself. It's those policies that have been copied and pasted from different platforms. Because the requirement was your application needs to have privacy policy, and developers will just copy privacy policy from somewhere and just paste it, and it passed. And also, we found out that, and the takeaway from this is that chatbots don't actually explain their data practices. So now if you are using Slack, you just have to be worried that any application you use, you are responsible to check whether it's compliant or not. And for the other analysis we did, in which we performed a static analysis, we discovered that there is no runtime check. In security, runtime check, if you have a channel, like for those that always use Slack, if you have a channel, and as an admin, maybe we have different level of users. So if you have like 10 different users, and all other users are just normal users, and maybe I as an admin, I have 10 users, then they said, okay, they need access to Zoom Hub, and Zoom applications have administrative privilege. So runtime check prevents ordinary users to instruct Zoom Hub with administrative privilege to perform administrative function. Like so, because a user doesn't have administrative privilege, but there is this app that I can use that have administrative privilege, then I can instruct this app to do something as if I have an administrative privilege, which like I'm bypassing, so I don't need admin to do anything. I can use the functions of that external applications to perform anything. So it's quite possible in Discord. And from our analysis, the static analysis we discovered that those out of the 15,000, we have access to like 2,240 applications on the source code of 2,240, and about 97% of them use Python code and they don't have any permission check, which means you can install their applications and someone else can install their application to perform something for them, thereby bypassing the admin privilege. And likewise for the dynamic analysis.
So, say this source code, are you able to locate our geographical location?
Yeah, because GitHub is just there, everybody can dump anything, so it's quite difficult to link. And because most of these applications seems malicious, so the developers too, they just cut their track. Like you can't trace it back to them, you can only trace it back to the applications.
Yeah, like in Google Hub, for instance, if you are in your house and you trigger location prompt, they are doing stuff, or like you have like a Google Chrome that your daughter or your son using and you're monitoring it.
Yes.
It can tell you exactly
Your location.
Location, like
You're going to, yeah.
find himself in London now, they can say someone already have access to this using some, maybe a computer in London.
And
So are you able to do that with us?
No,
if it's coming from China or coming from
No. Actually, we can't do this. One problem with this analysis is because most of those applications runs on cloud, not on your phone. Like because most like the Google Chrome runs on your laptop, so it have access to some key functionalities of your laptop. But now when the application is on cloud, in which everybody just visit that cloud irrespective of your location, so it's quite difficult to trace.
wow.
And yeah, because everybody is now moving to cloud, because cloud allows you to scale up and scale down as necessary. So yeah, that's one of the disadvantages of cloud system as well.
Security wise, what do you then need to do?
No, maybe I'll tell you now. So because there are different in Discord, there is something we call JIDE or servers. So you can actually run your application on different workspace. There is like workspace, I don't know. Workspace is like it's closer, it's almost seems like a channel, but it's by public channel, it's not the one you created for your password. There are workspace, and there is this interesting application we found, which is like a remote access Trojan. What it does is it have access to any information you put in your workspace. If you install these applications, the app can read your file, you can download your emails, you can a lot of activities, especially we that we always share sensitive files via messaging platforms.
Password.
Yeah, if it is passworded, it will be passworded, it can still be broken, but it's going to take some time because to be honest, most of our password is something that we can easily remember. So
I think what he probably has in mind is if it is encrypted.
that if it is encrypted, it makes it a little bit difficult. But to be honest, how many people always encrypt what they send to?
I mean the cost as well, yeah.
Yeah, except maybe it's extraordinary sensitive. Like if you encrypt it fine, you make it very difficult as well. So these are our findings. We find this interesting about reading our Word document and also trying to see whether you can find anything interesting, because we have this environment in which we set up ourselves that we make it look free, so we can actually monitor what activities is going on. So this guy here don't really know we are monitoring him, so we're able to detect that his house is really malicious. And this is what I think at the end he noticed that we don't have anything interesting, and he was trying to communicate with us and say, what is this, bro? Like, he knows he has been caught, but so he does have to send us a message and say, what is this? So it's one of the findings we found. And also, so it just, let me just summarize. So one thing we found is, okay, most of those applications actually requested for administrative privilege, which most people don't even know. So we just need accept. And likewise, we found out that even many of them don't do permission check. So if you have a group of users in your channel and they don't have admin privileges, but there is an application with admin privileges, if the application is vulnerable, people can actually leverage that privilege the application have to do administrative functions. And also, we identified this interesting malware, which we reported at the end of the day to Discord. And Discord told us very funny thing, like after we do this experiment, they updated their privacy policy and they put it there like users are actually responsible for the third-party application they use. So now if you download any apps, it's your responsibility to know whether the app is safe or not, and the platform will do that for you. Which is like we didn't agree with them because the individuals don't have the capability to check those apps, and that the platforms they have more money, they have more resources, and to do the checking. But now they are pushing the responsibility to the users. So now it's now left for you to know properly the application you are installing. Yeah.
There's a question for me. So there's this app we use. We all use it. WhatsApp. So I'm asking the question to you. Is WhatsApp safe? I know it's maybe encrypted, right? But with what you said today, if somebody somewhere is watching, is reading my secrets.
Technically, WhatsApp is safe because it's end-to-end encryption. Yeah, that's why in some countries like Saudi Arabia, because they find it difficult to read your WhatsApp message, WhatsApp is banned. So because
You
end-to-end
need a
encryption.
VPN.
Yeah,
VPN to do
use
that.
it.
Yeah.
But ideally, you believe okay, it have end-to-end encryption, which the encryption key is on the sender and the receiver side. So it's on their system. That's what they told us, and that's what we believe. But technically, for them to drop the encryption key on your devices, they can as well drop the copy of the encryption key somewhere else. Yeah. So, but they say they only drop it on the devices, so we just have to believe that they are dropping it only on our devices.
So let me ask this question. Now, there's one time in my country, right? They said they want to buy a device that can break WhatsApp, that the government can actually read. They said they would do it, but they didn't do it. What if they do? Say the government want to have access to people's for security, right? If A is sending to B, they want to see it. Will the government speak to WhatsApp and say, WhatsApp, this is what we need, or they will override the app?
Technically, it happens with Apple, like between the US government and Apple, when there was this incident and the US government needs to read this offendant iPhone. So it's like initially when such incident happened, they contracted it out to one private firm and they leverage, there is something called zero-day vulnerability, that's vulnerability that is not yet known. They leverage that to break iPhone. Then Apple reinforced the security of iPhone, and now they couldn't. Then there is this legal issue between the government and Apple was like, okay, for them to release it, like they are not going to open any iPhones again, that they need to seek the consent of the user to open such iPhones. So in that scenario, I might say it's quite difficult for someone to break into iPhone because the US government can't. That's why they are into issues, they are into legal issues with Apple. But if they are able to break it, they won't let you know, and you won't even know that they are
I think I have a confusion there. So I also saw that the UK government is also trying to
Get
also
permission. Yeah.
end-to-end encryption.
Yeah.
Even the provider can't even
Access it, yeah.
Nobody can access apart from the two parties.
Yeah.
So the government is saying, in order for us to understand what the truth or investigate three purposes, we need to see what is happening. For that to happen, they need to design a system and have maybe a central execution platform. Because we are going to be able to also go and see what people are doing. But I'm not sure, because everybody will want to share. People,
but to be honest,
WhatsApp will be bad because people send sensitive stuff. They want to be sure whatever they're sending is secure.
Yeah, I have a question. My first question was related to the ability of third-party apps to access, stuff you haven't given them permission. But I guess with the admin privileges you explained, that answers it. But my question now is, can those third-party apps access things that are not So if you're using maybe Slack on the web, for instance, can they access your the whole system apart from like what you've already put on Slack or on Discord?
You know, because Slack runs on cloud.
Yeah.
Like you don't have to install.
So, yeah.
So they don't have access to your own functionality.
Right.
Except maybe they drop some malware, whatever, and you have to install that on your system.
Yeah.
There is no link between the cloud platform and your system, so your system is safe.
What if Slack was installed on the system?
If Slack was installed on the system,
Yeah.
because most third-party apps are not actually installed on the Slack, they still run on cloud.
Yeah.
So there is this partitioning. That's why Slack can say, okay, you are responsible for your own security, because there is this stopgap in between them.
Okay, yeah, I think that answers the question. So where does GDPR come in all this? Especially given that these things are running on the cloud. The cloud can be based outside of Europe, which keeps them outside of the reach of GDPR, for instance. But where do regulators come in all this?
No, when it comes to technology, sometimes it's a bit challenging. But no, by law, if we are hosting the data of any UK citizen, for instance, it has to be within the UK.
Yeah.
So, and for the law, there are some, no, to be honest, to make some laws can be implementing laws and sometimes challenging, except you actually have a better understanding of how the platform has been designed. But in this case, if Slack is telling us that, okay, those apps actually runs within the UK, you just have to believe it, except we have a way of checking it. So now, and but when it comes to compliance, GDPR states like you have to disclose any information you are collecting from users, but most of these apps are failed to disclose it. Maybe it's not yet from the ICO they die, or maybe they feel like, okay, because they have this cavity, you are responsible for whatever apps you have. They can use that as a defense against ICO, like, okay, we have told them already, so if they install anything and there is a breach, they should be responsible and not us. But you know, law can sometimes be funny.
Okay, final question from what's your recommendation? Like, I use these platforms a lot, both Discord, Slack. As you know, if you're in the tech space, you cannot avoid them. What's your recommendation?
My recommendation is, like, it's, to be honest, not from professional level. Professional level would be like, okay, you need to actually check this application out yourself, analyze them, and ensure that they are secure. But in the case you can't do it, that's why some people are quite confident using any product that comes from Google, because they believe Google is going to do due diligence, even though it might not be. But it's just like sometimes you leverage that, okay, they have already made a name and they won't want anyone to tarnish their image, so they believe they always do due diligence. So if you are using any app, you just have to look at the developers and see like, okay, these developers are actually with someone with name, and if they mess up, I think it's some developers that I can actually get money from, like so like, no, but you just have to be sure that the developer is well known, and there are sometimes people do read videos and try to see what other people are saying about the apps. So you can use leverage videos, and also you can do a little background research. But to be honest, there is no.
I think the little I want to add to that is I think when you accept any policy, the extent it can go depends on what you have saved inside our browser. For instance, if you are using Chrome as your main browser, you can save as much as financial details like your PIN codes, card details, PayPal details, all of them. As much as you save there, it's inside that Chrome browser. So when you're accepting all those cookies message, you are either giving somebody consent to extract it if they want to extract it, because once they inject SQL inside the browser, it can extract everything inside the cookies. So to limit what the information that can go out of the system, you might want to have two browsers. Maybe Edge for some kind of site you want to go and accept anything they say, because if you don't accept, you can't visit that website. So you might use Edge for those of your researches where you always want to say yes, and maybe leave your Chrome for major businesses. I
Yeah.
think that's the only way.
So sometimes it's quite, that's like accept, like there is something we call implicit acceptance of privacy policy, which is like what the GDPR is promoting. But you know, sometimes when you look at the website, even the decline or not accept, I might have at the back end it might be accept.
Yeah.
So you just see not accept because it's the test they put on the website. Then you click not accept, you have already accepted it. So it's all like just try to ensure that the website you visit are just the new website and you ensure it's
safe.
just the new website, because all the images on the website are just tests. Then I could have even put something like, okay, if you decline, you are indirectly accepted. So
I think it's an interesting topic and everybody wants to ask questions about.
Yes.
Before we go, I just have one last question. So, for users, for all of us that don't understand, don't know much about cybersecurity, is there any platform you can recommend that they can go and say this app is not good? Is there any platform like that that can guide users as to the best app to download? And again, this your work. I think it's something that can reform policy. Do you push it for that to reach out to these app developers or come up with a policy document and approve the document and say, this is what we find, and push it and try to.
There is one we did in which we shared with the ICO, and we developed a tool that will allow users to actually access the compliance applications, but not this. Because when Discord released change their policy, it's like technically they are saying, regardless of our findings, it doesn't even matter because the user should be responsible. So we don't really push this much. But I guess for websites, because to be honest, there are thousands of apps that are being released almost every day. So you can't have a website to actually say this app is good or not, because I don't think there's any website that will keep up with the rate at which people are building apps. So it's quite challenging. But just ensure that you use a trusted app and only install those apps that you actually needed, and not just any recommendation from the website to keep installing it. And who knows? Sometimes those malicious users, they allow you to install this app, they will do nothing for like a year. Then you thought maybe your system is secure. Then it just starts. Then you'll be surprised like you haven't installed anything of recent. Meanwhile, you have installed the application like almost over a year. So
maybe you can develop that website for us.
Sorry, Dr. Jide, I was just wondering that this is to yourself and the chairman. I think this kind of your presentation needs to go to a bigger platform at some point. Maybe something chairman can or the brand can take into consideration to see how we can have it on the webinar as well. I think cyber security is a big issue. I wish more people know about this so that they will not be victim of.
We can bring him back on then on webinar where we have larger crowd.
And one last thing, I think it's quite nice to read policy sometimes, and though it might be voluminous and it's quite much, but it's quite nice to read policy because you can actually know what personal information they are collecting and maybe whether you wanted to actually share those information, because from the research what we discovered that some apps actually collected many permissions that necessary. We call them overprivileged apps. So I need your location, whatever. Meanwhile, they only need just your location and not all of that necessary permissions. So sometimes some apps are designed to be overprivileged to collect more information than necessary. So you have to be aware of such applications. Though it's not quite easy to know, but some, especially like Google Map now, if Google Map is collecting something more than location from me, I think I would be suspicious. Except maybe they wanted to say, okay, they need my phone number to send the location I am to somewhere else or whatever. Or if I just they need my own location just to give me the right map, so they don't need anything more. So, all right.
What I was going to say was with regards to what Jimmy talked about when we were talking about cloud. And he did say, what if something is located outside the EU or GDPR?
Yeah, it's against the GDPR policy.
Yeah, because I do believe that it's not only when it's located within the EU that GDPR applies to it, so that we all know something, a server or server can be located anywhere. If it's UK data, it can be applied to it, because if we use this instance of, if I use an instance in investment banking, maybe the market of settlement will be Russia. They are trading in Russia, and the market of settlement will be Russia. But remember that for every trading and everything, there is an agreement with the agent bank. So the market of settlement, or even where the trading took place, will be Russia, but the agreement attached to that very trading, which is called the governing law. You will see that the governing law may be the same with the market of settlement, but in some cases, the governing law is different from the market of settlement. So those things are there so that you know that the market where this happens is here, but the law governing it is
Yeah,
there.
definitely. That's why if you do crypto, like you have Binance UK now, other than the normal generic Binance, and Binance UK try to comply with the GDPR. And so, all right. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Shida.